Hi guys, my name is Ganiat and I recently got a role as a graduate product manager in one of the companies I absolutely adore, and here's how I did everything. I'm going to preface this by saying that if you're an international student and you've come to the UK for a master's degree or undergraduate degree and you intend to apply for a graduate role, the best time to apply was yesterday. The next best time to apply is today. Graduate roles take about a year to get processed, so if you're about to graduate this year, you should have applied last year. But not to fret, they always give about 2 years post your graduate degree, depending on undergrad or master's degree, where you can apply to graduate roles. So what you're going to do is when applications open from September to like January, you need to start putting your applications for the next year. So if applications start in September this year, it's going to be for resumption September next year. More often than not, that's how it works. They can bend the rules depending on your situations, but more often than not, those are the timelines that it takes for graduate roles to get into effect. So if you're intending to start your master's degree in September, once you resume your master's degree in September, you should also start applying to a lot of graduate roles because they open around September when new grads resume, and then they open the roles for the next year in September, October, November, December. You start your application, you go through the process. Here's how I did mine, and I will give you guys the timelines of how I did it and how I eventually got my job. First stage is pretty straightforward. You apply, you put in your CV, and one thing you want to make sure to do is to apply very early. You want to be one of the first people to apply to a role. So if roles come out today, you want to have applied the next day or at most 2 to 3 days after. I'm not saying if roles have been out for long, you shouldn't apply. However, it increases your chances because a lot of these roles they recruit on a rolling basis. Rolling basis means once they get a couple of applications, they start processing those ones. They work on those CVs, they send them like the next stages while you are still applying to the role. So you want to be there as quickly as possible because the moment they fill in the roles, let's say the first 10 people they pick, and there's 3 roles, and they find 3 candidates in the first 10 people they picked, that's the end. Role closed. So you want to make sure that you apply early enough to these roles as soon as they open out. Set up alerts. I think Bright Network has alerts on like graduate roles. There's also Grad Cracker for graduate roles. You can use it to monitor graduate roles that are coming out, and that really gives you an opportunity to apply early as possible if you have these notifications on. So after you've done your online submission, then you get an online assessment. This assessment is mostly like there's mathematical, verbal, or like there's all this like quantitative or verbal reasoning, things like that all put together. There are a lot of different ones and they're like a lot harder. Like it goes like high depending on the level. Some of them are very harder and some are very simple depending on your company. However, one thing you want to do is a lot of people jump head first into it. No, sometimes they give you a link to practice. So you want to practice first so that you're putting your best foot forward when you eventually do the actual one. You want to practice first and get familiar with how the questions might be. You don't want to just jump ahead and like, oh yeah, I'm good at math. Yes, you're good at math, but are you fast enough? Have you tracked how fast you are? Because like a lot of these assessments are like timed, so it's not about the fact that you don't know it. You know it, obviously. It's English. Sometimes it's quantitative, sometimes it's just like logical reasoning. However, are you fast enough to get as many answers as quickly as possible within the time frame that you have? These are the issues, right? So you want to practice first. There's a lot of websites where you can practice for free, and a lot of these assessments, when they send it to you in the email, they give you like a practice option first of all before you then have to like go and do the actual one. So make sure you do the practice first before you eventually do the actual one you're supposed to do for the company. After the assessment, I don't know companies that skip assessment, but let's presume some companies might exist that do that. I don't know. I don't have an overview on all companies. But after the assessment, the next stage would most likely be an on-demand video interview. What is on-demand video interview? It is a scenario where you are making videos just like the way I am talking to you guys, but to interview prompts. So they ask you questions. They give you about a minute or 45 seconds to process it, and you have to answer the questions. Another thing you want to do here is practice a lot of common interview questions. Also, there's Glassdoor. There's a lot of conversations happening around a lot of companies, so depending on your particular company, you can Google or search Glassdoor on common interview questions that they ask, especially for graduates and things like that. And there's a lot of videos on particular companies and the specific questions that he asked. So check YouTube as well to see like if somebody has spoken in depth about the company that you're applying to. Chances are you might not find the exact company, but someone has done a video on, oh, this is the interview questions that are most common that you find, and you just practice and practice and practice with that. Make practice videos. More often than not, you get 2 chances to record the video. You know, the first one, but for one thing I find is after you do the first recording and you feel like, oh, you were flustered or you fumbled a bit, you have a final chance, and I feel like there's chances for you to even fumble the second part because you're nervous. So one thing you want to do is keep it real, have one go at it. That's what I would say. However, if you make a mistake, no worries, just stop it and re-record it. Some even give as much as 3 chances for you to do the recording before it saves. Also, you want to make sure your network is good, because we're talking about streaming videos, uploading videos. You don't want a bad network where, let's say, half your video uploads or the video stops at one point and then you are not able to like tell your recruiter things that you need to tell them. That is even worse, because you're losing an opportunity because you have bad network. Don't make that mistake. Make sure your network is good and do the on-demand video interview. Be calm, talk gently and clearly, but also pass your information across. You want to incorporate things that tie to the company early on. You want to incorporate things that tie to the company values, and pretty much just show that you're very interested in their organization. Now, but not giving desperado vibes. The whole point is just that you show how passionate and committed you are to the organization, and you also speak to their values so they know that, oh, this person is really interested in us, and they've done a bit of background research. You can talk about generic answers, but tailor your answers to the companies so that you stand out, sort of, because a lot of people are giving amazing responses. Everybody is smart. It's a smart pool of people that they're trying to take from, including yourself. So you need to even stand out even further, right? After the on-demand video interview, the next stage is most likely going to be a technical interview, depending on the role that you applied for. As the name implies, it's going to be technical. Do not play yourself. It's going to be a bit difficult, but one thing you want to show is that you know what you're talking about. Now, one thing people make a mistake of is like, oh, these recruiters, they're waiting for me to fail. Actually, no. It makes their job easier if they find the candidate as quickly as possible and they can close the role. So it's better you even, as you've applied early, it's better that you get the job so that they can fill up the roles and close the other candidates, and you don't have to go through this process again and again. Now, I can't speak for all recruiters. I'm just saying general assumptions. My opinions are mine, not mine of my company or of any company, actually. Just my opinions. When you're doing the interview, if you don't understand anything, or if something is unclear or you're not sure, do not be scared to be vulnerable and say like, actually, I'm unclear about that, or I'm unsure what that means. They would give you guides, they'll give you prompts that will actually help you and guide you through to like the part that they want you to answer. Also say your thought process out loud. Oh, this is what I think, this is what I think, this is what I think. And as you're saying your thought process and putting together like an answer for the interview, if they feel like you're going away from the point that they need you to make, they're going to guide you and say, oh, no, assuming this, or assuming that, or no, this is actually the scenario. Because a lot of these technical interviews, at least for tech, are very scenario based, very specific based. They can give you a case study and ask you to work on it, or like they can give you like an example or ask you to give an example in your experience where you demonstrated blah 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 blah. So now you have to put the scenario together. The most valuable way to answer questions is using the STAR method: situation, task, your action, and then the result. And you want to say, particularly one thing I like to do is I like to say a good result and also like a not so great result, because it shows that like you're not perfect, you don't know anything, and you're willing to take correction. So when you say the not so bad result, you say what you did to correct the results, so they know that oh, this is a superstar for real, for real. That's what I think personally. Don't take my word for it. If you're comfortable talking about all of the good things that you've worked on, great. Now, technical interview is done. Some people end their process here, but a lot of grad roles eventually take you to an assessment center where it's just a lot of activities. Assessment center can be tough and difficult, and something that you want to make sure that you do is to have conversations with people that have done this assessment center before for your particular company, and that helps you know exactly what to expect. Now, they don't have the questions that they will give you and take, like, they won't say, oh, take these questions, no, but they will tell you this, and like they'll give you context. You know how long it is, you know how intense it can get, and you'll be able to go there doing that, like, okay, I need to mentally prepare myself for like how this day is going to go. Something that really resonated with me in my assessment center was the recruiter telling us, if you've gotten this far, you already have the qualities that we're looking for, we just need to see the company values in you. Something that you want to internalize is what are important to the company, and how do I display these in my interactions with the people that I'm at the assessment center with, and also to the recruiters. So most times there's always people looking at you, scoring you based on different criteria. I don't know what they score you on, to be honest, because I'm not a recruiter. However, you want to show things, skills like teamwork, leadership, also collaboration. You want to be outspoken, speak to everyone, the recruiters, your colleagues. Just be friendly and be a decent person and do the work that they ask you to do. So you mostly have a lot of tasks to complete. It could be like 4 or 5 tasks. It could take the whole day. Sometimes it takes a couple of days, depending on the assessment center, really. So actually, I don't know if it takes a couple of days. I've heard, but I don't know any particularly. So I can't say that for sure. Let's just correct that notion. But most more often than not, it takes like the whole day. It could be like from 9 a.m. to like 4 p.m. They mostly provide you with food, but there's like a bunch of tasks between that time to the ending, and you just have to do and complete those tasks. Complete those tasks as best as you can, and also display some of the core skills that are important that you've identified in the company values that are important to them. So that's my tip that I would say for assessment center. And after the assessment center, at this point, I don't know if any other company goes forward, but at this point, if you get an offer, great. If you don't get an offer, it happens. You just kind of move on to the next one. For me, the timelines where I had applied to the role in September 2023. I did the online assessment and online on-demand video interview. I did this between November and December. I did my technical interview in January, and I did an assessment center in February. So I got feedback in March. I expect that that's like if you're in your final year, you're applying for when you finish, and a lot of people finish in September. They finish like June, July before summer, and then by summer you have a summer break, and then you start the role in September, just like with school calendar as well. So that's kind of the timelines of how I did my own. So between March and July, they were doing like a lot of background checks. This is something that like you do for any jobs. Even my former role as a business analyst, I had like a lot of background checks going on. Then depending on your situation, you could be doing visa sponsorships, or you could just be like chilling and just waiting to resume. Depends on your peculiar situation. But yeah, that would be everything that I have on getting a graduate role, how I got mine, and some of the tips that I have on getting a graduate role. If I was doing a graduate role again today, if I was applying for a graduate role again today, there's some things that I would do. Like I mentioned in some of my tips, I've said apply early, speak to a lot of people in the fields that you want to work in, and make sure you do your research about the companies so that you know what you're talking about. Also do your research about the roles so that you, especially when you're in technical interviews, so you can use technical terms and sort of like impress your recruiters and show that you know the things that you're talking about. I feel like those are my top tips when you're applying. Particularly applying early is really, really important to get into the pool as early as possible, so that they pick you as one of the first candidates, and then you can sort of like show how good you are and how you're a good fit for the role. Thank you so much for watching. That's everything I have on securing a graduate role as an international student in the UK. If you have any questions, leave it in the comment below. I'll be watching and I'll be trying to respond as much as possible. Also, I wanted to mention some of the platforms where I did get some graduate roles. I recommend Bright Network. You can set up alerts for that, and Grad Cracker as well. And also checking the website of the companies that you're interested in your field that you want to apply to. That will be my top 3 ways that I would say you can easily get a graduate role. Thank you so much for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe. We talk about everything work, travel, and lifestyle, because we're working to fund our travel and lifestyle. I'll see you guys in my next video. Bye.